Hi, I'm Adam and welcome back to First Man Photography. Now, do you ever feel like you are getting worse at photography? It's happening to me at the moment, and when I look around at all my images on the wall, it leaves me wondering how I could possibly ever create something like that again. So if you've ever struggled with your photography or felt like you're not improving, then this is the video for you. But we're not going to solve it in the studio, so let's head out into the landscape. Before we get going today though, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a domain name, a website or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. So quite recently when I was trying to figure out why things have got worse, or I've been really struggling recently, I decided that it may be that I'm just not putting in enough time to exploring and scouting out locations. Flies. So what I thought I would do today was come to this woodland where I came a couple of times in the late autumn and in the winter and photographed these trees here that you can see. And on both those occasions, I think I captured something that was quite nice and thought they might work well with their summer canopy on. And I've come today and unfortunately been a little bit disappointed, mostly because the sort of reeds or whatever the plant is that's growing up around the tree has sprung lots of leaves, and it's creating even more chaos, even more forms that are distracting from the rest of the tree. So the late autumn one here that was in the misty conditions, I think this is the better one. Just beautifully brings out those greens of the moss on the branches and gives them some prominence. But now everything's green and it's not quite working. In the trees themselves, the canopy is really quite a lot higher than the actual frame that I shot. I thought, oh, I visualised that really nicely, well done. But then I've got here, and in fact, the total opposite has happened. So I think it's going to be a case of having a little explore around and seeing what we can get next. Yeah, that's it, that's what we'll do. So no sooner than I said that exploring may pay off, it actually does, because I'm now surrounded by this absolutely magnificent cotton grass, where last time I was here, I was getting blown off my feet. Oh, absolutely brutal. So it's really quite pretty. And I've got this kind of stone path running through the middle of it as well, so it's giving me nice access to some of the thicker parts of the cotton grass. But well, I'm struggling really. This is what I'm feeling at the moment. When I'm talking about, I think I'm getting worse at landscape photography because I'm struggling to really figure out what to do. I think what's going to be the better kind of shot is going to be getting in a little bit closer on the cotton grass, because that's the story here. The cotton grass is the story, so it may be a case of getting down low and trying to do something handheld. The main problem I'm having is, in my mind, I know exactly what I want. I want to show this cotton grass as the main subject, as the beautiful plant that it is, but to fill the frame with it, to make it prominent and big, but also then to show the context in which it sits in this field of cotton grass. And I'm finding that particularly difficult. I've tried a wide angle. I've tried it with the 24-70 on. I have shot both ways because I'm surrounded by it right now. The camera's firing on its own. And it's all very frustrating. What I am certain of, though, is that I want it to be backlit. It looks really beautiful with the sun coming from behind it and slightly above, because the sun's still quite high in the sky, onto the cotton grass. I think that looks really nice. The other issue I'm having is I can't use a tripod because I don't want to firstly damage the cotton grass itself, but I also want to get down really, really low to kind of almost shoot up, because the clouds at the moment are looking really, really interesting. So I've tried so many different compositions and the tripod is just not the way to go for that. So I think what I'm sort of settled on is to have the camera kind of low down and I can reach in a bit without damaging any of the grass. At the moment, I'm using f11. I'm at 1/400th of a second and ISO 200. I've upped that because I want it up from 1/200th of a second to 1/400th because it's windy and it's moving around a bit. I want to freeze the action. I'm hand holding as well. I do have stabilization on this lens, but I don't want any movement in the frame. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of lean in, get the camera low, and then try and position it so I have the cotton grass sitting between two of the clouds. There's a little gap in the clouds in the sky, and if I can get the cotton grass some blue behind it rather than the white of the cloud, it's going to work much better, and then the cloud will hopefully frame it. Let's adjust the focus point up a bit. Get it nice and high. There you go. Oh, it's hurting my back. I actually think that's worked really well. I'm hurting from crouching down, but have a look, see what you think. Right, I'm set up for another shot now, and it's somewhat of an unusual type picture for me. But I walked past this little gap in the dry stone wall that led into this little area that I'm in now. And this wood is full of these beautiful purple flowering, I don't know if they're trees or not, but I don't know what they are. My knowledge of trees and flowers and plants is not very good, but I know they look really beautiful. I've been greeted with this tree just here, and it's knobbled, it's old, it's not huge, but it's nice enough. So I think there's something here to shoot. And in my mind, it's that tree surrounded by that purple colour, which is unusual for a woodland, I think. And it's for that reason I think this might work. However, I am struggling again. I don't know if that visualisation that I have in my mind is going to transfer into the final picture. And the reason I'm a little bit unsure is because it could end up being quite a flat image. I'm not sure I'm going to capture the depth in the scene because, like I was saying earlier, we've got to deal with the forms and it is quite busy. But what I do like, the thing I think is working, and the reason it may work is because these sort of green leaves down below have a kind of more shadowy area. So we're going to have sort of shadow around the bottom, then that bright green, then that tree, then up into the canopy, and there's beautiful purples. And what's particularly beautiful is that purple and that green complement each other absolutely perfectly. So I have the 24-70 on. I'm in at, I don't know, about 40 millimeters. So I'm zooming in to kind of fill the frame with the tree, and then it's kind of going off to the top right of the frame, and I want to give a little bit of breathing space to the sort of purple flowers that are behind me. So I'm kind of zoomed to that extent. Yeah, and I think it's going to work. I'm at f11, I'm at ISO 400 just because there is a little bit of movement from the wind, so I'm at 1/8 of a second. F11 is enough to get sharp front to back. I'm focusing on the tree itself. Fire that off, 2-second timer. On the screen when I look at it here, it kind of has almost like a secret garden look to it. I think with a bit of shading, a bit of controlling of the shadows, it could work really well. Oh, so much confidence lacking today though, so much confidence. I don't know, like looking at this, I should know, but I don't because right, I'm really not happy with one of those images. So we're going to look at that, and I want to give you a couple of tips on how to deliver good critique on a photograph. But before we do that, as you know, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. And Squarespace is just the best place for photographers to build their website. And that's because it's just so easy to do. You start by using one of their beautiful templates, put some of your own images and a bit of your text on there, and before you know it, you will have a unique and beautiful looking website. You don't need any coding knowledge either, and it will automatically and dynamically adjust to look perfect on all types of screens, including a phone. As you grow, you can then upgrade your site to an online store where you can easily start selling prints or books or anything else that takes your fancy. It also now has a members section if you want to run a subscription service, and in the unlikely event you run into trouble, they have award-winning customer service. I've used Squarespace for years and have never looked back, so go to squarespace.com to start your free trial today, and if you like what you have created, use the offer code FIRSTMAN to get 10% off your first purchase. So rule number one when you are delivering critique is it's not about you. It's not your opportunity to show everyone what an ultra talented superstar you are. You're doing something to help someone else. Secondly, there are various methods of delivering feedback, and a nice simple one is the shit sandwich. So you say one good thing about the image, then deliver the bad news in the middle, and then finish off with a good point, leaving the person feeling positive. We then want to actually say something constructive. In a video the other week, I went through the artistic elements that we can use to help create our work. These elements are also excellent to use when talking about artwork, along with the artistic principles, which include things like balance and unity. So this is the image I'm not happy with, so let's use the shit sandwich. I love the colour. The greens and the purples work so well together. And we know this because they are on opposite ends of the colour wheel. For me, though, it doesn't work because it's lacking depth, and that's because I have not dealt with the form. I want emphasis on the subject tree and the flowers, but all the other foliage, especially in the background, is just too distracting, and it gives that flat and overly busy feeling. It definitely has that secret garden feel though, and I've enhanced that by controlling the values and the brightness around the edges of the frame using a radial filter, which has created a nice sort of negative space as well to push attention towards the centre. I do, however, really love this photograph of the cotton grass. It's that kind of strong vertical line down the middle that gives it that powerful feeling, and the positioning of the main stalk with the negative space of the blue sky is really given it prominence. There's context and depth there too, with the field sort of being visible in the background blur, and using this very appropriate cotton rag paper. The textures almost jump off the page, and I feel it really was worth the struggle. And this is now the new Continuum print, and you can pick up one of 5 editions by clicking on the link down below, and they're only available for 7 days or until all 5 have sold. They ship all around the world, and I've titled this Summer Rhapsody. So if it feels like you are getting worse at photography, you're probably not. This artistic anxiety is a normal part of the process, and to be expected really, because photography isn't easy and consistently producing good work is even harder. But keep pushing, keep working, keep struggling, because the next great image is out there waiting to be captured.